Hello, I'm Ross. You'll probably realise by now that all of the tents in the endurance and terrain range are built for groups. That means they had direct input from group leaders during the design process. So, if you're a group leader, you're in the right place. However, there's 10 tents in the range to choose from. How are you going to know which one's the best one for your groups? Let's talk about the differences and let's compare them to get a better idea. Endurance tents are built for groups. That means they're really simple for young people to use and they're incredibly durable. A lot of our customers would have got an extra couple of seasons use out of these tents compared to what they are used to, so that makes them incredibly cost effective in the long run. Terrain, on the other hand, these blue tents are all new for 2018. Now they're still simple for young people to use, but they have lower spec than the endurance range. Now, they're built to be affordable for groups and they start at a very compelling price point, around £80 to £100. The next question you'll need to ask yourself is, what level of expedition are your groups going to be undertaking? So down the bottom here, we have entry-level tents, fiberglass poles. That would be typically for a scout excursion or a 1 to 2 night expedition. Further up our mountain, we have these top-level tents. These would be classed as mountain tents, so for a 4 to 5 day gold expedition or wild camping in the White Peaks, for example. Finally, through the middle here, we have a range of group tents that would pretty much cater for any level of expedition. Okay, I've given you an overview of the range. Now let's drill in and talk about the tents in a bit more detail. I'm going to start off talking about the new terrain tents. As I mentioned, these were built to be affordable for groups. So these bottom two here come with fibre carbon wrap poles. Whilst this helps keep the cost down as much as possible, they're better than a standard fiberglass pole that you'll find on many entry-level tents. The wrap is designed to increase the strength of the pole, and if it ever does break, the wrap ensures that the fiberglass doesn't shatter and ruin your fly sheet in the process. Alternatively, if you can pay a little bit more, you can upgrade to these alloy poles. Now these are lighter in weight and the poles are more durable, so should last you longer. These terrain alloy poles have the name and model printed on them to help identify them in the kit store. This has been a really popular feature on the endurance range, so we decided to pull that across to the terrain range as well. Now let's look at these tunnel tents over this side. We have the Plateau, the Crag, and now the Terrain Neos. Now tunnel tents are great if you're prepared to teach your students how to properly pitch them. They have to be pegged out and pitched properly, otherwise you can end up with a saggy patch in the middle here. However, if you like the tunnel style, then these are all awesome tents. The main differences between these are that the Plateau has a very large porch, brilliant for storage. The Crag and the Neos are more minimalist tents, so they have a small porch and that helps save on cost, weight and pack size. The Neos is the lowest priced tent that we do due to its simple construction and lower spec fabrics compared to the endurance range. So we've talked about tunnel tents. Now let's talk about semi-geodesic tents. That's everything on the left hand side here. Semi-geodesic means that the tents have crossover poles. That makes them stable in higher winds. However, it's more of a convenience thing. You can pitch the tent, and if it's on a rough piece of ground, you can pick up the tent and transfer the whole thing to a different area of the campsite. Another massive advantage for schools and groups is these tents can be left to dry without needing to be pegged out, so they can be left in a school hall or in a playground. You just stand them up and they can dry naturally. First up on the semi-geodesic tents then, we have the Altitude. Now if you want a mid-range tent with lots of space, the Altitude is brilliant. It's very easy to pitch due to its simple dome construction, but it still has a very large porch. It's kind of the best of both worlds. The Refuge. We've put this in the middle of the range here. This is because it's our best seller. The main reason that groups love this tent is because it has 3 poles, which are all the same length. That makes it really easy for the young people to pitch, but also back in the kit store keeps things very simple. Imagine having a whole fleet of tents and only one length of pole to worry about. Also, it has 2 entrances and 2 porches, so it's really flexible, and we have groups that use this across all levels of expedition. The Kudos is one of our new terrain tents. It's based on the Endurance Refuge, so we took the same shape and configuration and built it for groups that needed a lower price point tent. So it has lower spec than the Refuge, and it's available in fiberglass poles or alloy poles. Moving up the mountain again, both the ravine and the summit are primarily aimed at those top level expeditions where the students are camping in really rough conditions or it's really windy. Now, as you can see, they have lots of crossover points on the poles. Now, whilst that makes it slightly more complex to erect, they're very, very stable once they're up and brilliant for those wild camping expeditions. With the ravine, you get a porch at both ends. This does make it a little bit heavier, so if weight's important for you, then check out the summit. It only has 1 porch and a lower profile, so it's really lightweight but still very stable. Okay, that's it for now. I trust that's given you some guidance on which tent to choose. There's further details on each of these tents on our website accesskit.co.uk.